Okay, at Maryland, 3:30 homecoming game. Good football team. Coach Locksley and his staff done a great job of recruiting the DMV. Excellent young talent. A lot of it showing up on the field, especially on defense as true freshmen. Um, they got off to a 4-0 start, and they had Washington 20 to nothing with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter for win 5, and then went into the fourth 20 to 3. And it kind of came apart on them and lost by 4, and then lost to Nebraska by 3, who's a 6-2 football team, as is Washington. And UCLA's a tie game with 33 seconds to go, and UCLA hits a couple big plays, kicks a field goal with 2 seconds to go in the game to win. So 3 tough losses. They're open this week, but really impressed with them as a football team. I mean, they're in the top 10 in the country in turnover ratio. They've got a new defensive coordinator. It's been in the NFL for 16 years, was linebacker coach for the Ravens. 2 Super Bowls there. They have 14 interceptions, 22 sacks. They're giving up 17 points a game. Their offense is only giving up 2 sacks. And they're outscoring people the first 3 quarters, 175 to 50. Got an excellent punter, excellent field goal kicker, short snapper, long snapper, and they're doing a lot of good things. Freshman quarterback, 6'5", 230 pounds, really has a strong arm and can run. And wide receivers are very talented, so is a tight end. Line's huge. Good running backs that also catch the ball out of the backfield. So they fly around on defense. They create turnovers. They sack the quarterback. And offensively, they're protecting the quarterback, protecting the ball, making explosive plays, and have a good kicking game. So it's homecoming. We're going to have to be at our best, have a great week of prep starting with today. A couple things about the UCLA game. Got off to a fast start like we wanted to. Aiden Fisher with the interception on the second play, sack on the first play we had. 7-0 out the gate. And defense really won the line of scrimmage. Created 3 turnovers, which resulted in net 14 points for us. Held them to 200 yards. The last drive they gained some yards, but so they were probably in the 150s or 160s for the most part. And 1 of 11 on third down. And offense scored 7 out of 8 drives. Drive 2 through the midway the fourth quarter, I think, or early fourth quarter. And on third and fourth was 14 of 16. And that's probably the story of the game, was third down and the turnovers. And, we ran the ball for 262 yards, and our special teams were solid. We had a couple undisciplined penalties I wasn't real pleased with. But, so it was a good afternoon. But Maryland going to be quite a challenge. Questions?
First, just real quick, I know Aiden Fisher was going through some tests. Did you get an update, and do you anticipate him being available for Saturday or out any long term?
I would list Aiden Fisher as probable.
And then with Fernando, have you offered him any advice kind of dealing with the national spotlight he's under? I know you kind of say eliminate the noise and clutter. He's deleted his social media, and he's a thoughtful kid, but this is different. He admitted kind of on Saturday he's never kind of faced kind of the spotlight he's under. Just have you had a conversation about that with him at all?
Yeah, up to this point, we haven't really had a one-on-one regarding that. I know he's got a lot of support off the field. My messages to the team are always about staying focused on the here and now and things that affect preparation and positive performance and eliminating the noise and clutter. And he's always tuned into those messages as well. So, but as we move further down the road on a daily basis, the antenna's always up. But I think he's handled it great. He improves every week, makes plays, and I thought he made a lot of really nice plays Saturday.
We've asked you the last couple of years a lot about experienced quarterbacks, especially here. How do you evaluate a guy that is at Maryland, very raw to the position, has a lot of physical tools, has put some good stuff on film, and is obviously still growing? Just what do you see in Malik Washington?
Yeah, he's got great size. They're doing a really good job protecting him, which is huge. I mean, they've only given up 2 sacks. but he's also got the ability to extend plays, avoid the rush, which he's done, and throw it down the field or run, tuck it and run. But he can make all the throws down the field, and he's learning as he goes. But he's very impressive.
Yeah, Coach, I did a quick count. I think my math is right. You guys have 11 Big Ten wins in your tenure by double figures. Past decade, I think it was 10. What do you think has led to not only you guys playing well, but having dominance in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I really haven't thought about that very much. I think at home, our fans are the best, and playing at home is a huge advantage for us. Once they get going, I mean, it's just so loud and crazy, and our players feed off of that. And on the road, we've been successful as well. And the thing we ask our guys to do is play every play like it's nothing, game on the line, and from beginning to end, regardless of the competitive circumstances. And I think they've bought into that message.
Yeah, Curt, you got a good game from Devin Boykin. What do you need for him to continue that the rest of the way here?
Yeah, he played really well on special teams too, and had a big interception, had some nice plays, defensive player of the game. And I've seen that whole safety position. The more snaps they get, the more familiarity they have playing together. A lot of interceptions in the back end, good ball skills back there. Boykin, Lewis, Moore, and Farrell all have good ball skills. And Boykin's a really smart player. He can play all three safety positions. He's a good tackler, good cover guy. And, he made a really nice play on that interception, Saturday, but had some big special teams tackles too.
How would you describe the importance of Bob Bosted with what you guys have been able to do on the ground so far this season?
Well, I think it's huge, which is, why I felt so fortunate to be able to retain him. I fired up that when I saw he was on the roster the year before, because had been kind of aware of his name but had never met him probably 10, 12 years ago. And everybody sang his praises about the improvement of the offensive line in 2023. And, Bob's an excellent line coach. I mean, he's a football guy, and, he's a great fundamental teacher. And he makes them tough, and those guys respond to him. And, but, like everything else, it's a team game. It's, it starts up front, and then at tight end and wide receiver, downfield blocking, and our backs run really hard, and done a great job of protecting the ball too. Then Fernando chips in with his yards now and then.
The looks Haynes throws are just really cool, really unique. What's the process look like of trying to craft those kind of looks, and how early on after you hired him did you kind of tell that his mind was just really advanced?
Yeah, I got that sense about him pretty quickly when I hired him. Now, you got to remember, I hired him back in, I think it was 2013 or so. He was coming off of 14, coming off a graduate assistantship at Ohio State under Urban Meyer, and had been a graduate assistant at Indiana and had a Division III job also. I actually hired him to coach a defensive line. That's a position I had available. It was a part-time position, but your full-time hours, full-time coach for maybe $8,000. And I thought he did a great job with the defensive line. So at that point, I always kind of viewed him as a D-line guy. But he always expressed he wanted to be more of a linebacker guy. And then I always thought he'd be coordinator material. And then when I got the Elon job, he had gone to Kel Davis, and they'd got released as a staff. So I was fortunate enough to bring him back to Elon, right? And did a tremendous job. Was Tony Trisciani's right-hand man there, who's now the head coach at Elon. And then when I went to JMU, I hired Corey Heatherman to be the defense coordinator, who's now at Miami. And he did a great job, was with me 3 years. But the day that, about 20 minutes before Corey was to arrive for his interview, Bryant came walking into my office and said that Tony down at Elon had offered him the defensive coordinator job at Elon. I said, well, what do you want to do? He goes, I want to stay with you. I said, okay, well, look, I'll talk to Corey, see about you being the co-coordinator, but, understand that Corey's the coordinator. And Corey was cool with that. And then when Corey left to go to Rutgers, and right after the 21 season, I think, I elevated Bryant. And he just, did a tremendous job. And now you see it. And every year, the package continues to build. The production numbers are great. We're always in the top 3 of the country against the run. We're normally in the top 10 in TFLs and sacks, least amount of yards given up. And, he's a football guy. So not only is he good at the X's and O's, and his philosophy is to attack. He wants to attack offenses. So the X and O, part of it's a strength, but he's a great teacher. He's a great teacher for the linebacker, very detailed. And I can't say enough good things about Brian Haynes. And I'm glad he decided to stay last year when he had some opportunities, because he's a super key guy in the organization.
Kyle Kamara entered this year with some lofty ambitions and goals. He was talking about wanting to, aiming for a program sack record. Obviously, he's still been productive out there, but he, quieter than expected. Just 1 sack, I guess. Just what's been different for him this year? What's this year been like for him?
Yeah, well, I think production numbers speak for themselves. And I think he's got another level he can play at, and I'm waiting to see it.
Coach, you mentioned that Maryland's very good at taking the ball away. Last year, I think they turned you guys over 4 or 5 times, but the defense responded. What lessons can you take from last year to show the team this year to how to respond to that adversity? Yeah,
well, it's a different set of characters on their defense and a new coordinator. I remember 2 early ones and then maybe a late fumble. I thought once we got our feet on the ground offensively after the first 2 series, we played fairly well. But I have not gone back and looked at that tape because it's a completely different scheme this year. So, look, no matter who you play, you got to win the line of scrimmage. You got to be able to run the ball, stop the run, put pressure on the quarterback. You got to win the turnover ratio. Turnover ratio equals points. UCLA, we're +3, equaled 14 points. We have almost every year since I've been a head coach but 1 been in the top 10 in the country in turnover ratio. And maybe there's 2 or 3, but we're normally there. And then it's a battle of explosive plays. Runs +12, passes +15. Critical situations and special teams. So we've done a really good job of protecting the football. We haven't turned it over hardly at all, and we've been getting takeaways. So I just expect us to practice up to the standard and stack meetings and days, have a great week of preparation, and put it on the field. Play 1 to 150.
Curt talked about how good the defense is doing, but if you look at the numbers, you guys are giving up about 3 points per game in the second half of each game, and you're averaging about 20 points scoring-wise each game. So the team stays defensively. You're getting stronger in the second half, which, of course, is what you want, but not always what is seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think ODU had 2 big plays on us. Other than that, not much. Kennesaw got us on a couple shifts of motions and some funky formations. Aside from that, it's been tough going for opponents against our defense. And but it's been that way for a while. That's what I'm used to seeing. And our guys play with a lot of pride. There's a tradition on that side of the ball. They've got a great leader. The other assistant coaches do a tremendous job as well. And we got a lot of veterans back there that played a lot of football. And then offensively, we try not to put them in a bad spot. That's one thing about me still being involved offensively is it's not about scoring points. It's about winning the game. So I make sure that we don't put the defense you know, in a bad position where we're turning the ball over in minus territory. So, and when people have moved the ball a little bit against our defense, we've done a good job of holding them to field goals.
Curt, I guess something a little lighter, if you didn't mind, to finish today. I know you probably won't have time to celebrate with travel and everything, but I'm curious, Halloween weekend, do you have a favorite Halloween costume from your past, your kids' past, anything like that? Like one that you think back on and that was a really good one?
That's a hard question for me. My wife loves Halloween, and she's really disappointed that she's going to miss it this week. But I can remember as a young kid, my mother making me a homemade Superman or Batman costume, because, you know, back then we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, that was high school. Maybe it was at Pitt, but I think it was Superman, Batman. I was a Snicker bar Reese Cup guy. So the costume wasn't as important to me as getting, you know, all the candy.
Have you seen the impersonator that they've shown on TV that's dressed up?
Yeah, he's pretty good. All right, guys.
Have you been impersonated before?
Only by the players, probably.
Was there any update on Frankie?
Yeah, Frankie, I would call questionable for this week.